we're good.
So I want to know a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about competitive advantage and how you can calculate your customers' decision factors to gain a competitive advantage. And so I'm going to beat up on my fake home inspection website, bigbeninspections.com, and you can go there and check it out. This is a website that I made and I teach from it. So there's really good things in it and some really bad mistakes. You can take a look at that if you wanted some inspiration or to check out what I like, some of the features that I like in a home inspection website in order to convert a site visitor into a client. But let's just assume that Big Ben Inspections is struggling to survive, right? And it's been in business for many years, but it's barely profitable. Now, if Big Ben Inspections is going to be successful, it has to consider combinatorics. I looked it up. It's a branch of mathematics that studies the combination of elements and their mathematical result. So if you get a bunch of things together and you kind of structure them to combine together, they can make a result, right? Or they can produce a result. And so one of the things that we study is like, what are the decision factors? What are the elements that combine up in order for someone to make a decision to hire you? And when you're successful and you're enjoying a competitive advantage, you have a marketing strategy that combines several elements and mathematically creates a result, such as your company being hired by a consumer instead of another company. So let's take a look at several reasons why a particular home inspection company, like Big Ben Inspections, could be chosen over another company from the perspective of a potential client, from a consumer. And consumers base their purchasing decisions on a combination of factors. It's not just one thing. It isn't just because my agent said to, right? It's usually more than just that. It's a combination of factors that provide them the most value. So rental cars is a good example. I'm about to go on a road trip. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm believing everything's going to stay open with my family. We're heading from Colorado to Yosemite in California. Hopefully the park stays open. And I chose a rental car because I don't want to beat up my own car. And I chose a rental car based upon what I thought brought me the most value. All rental cars basically do the same thing. They're all a commodity. They take me from point A to point B. Just like watches, they all do the same thing. They all tell the same time. But some watches are $10 and some watches are $500. Same thing with home inspectors and home inspection companies. We all do the same thing. We all perform home inspections according to a standards of practice. We all write a report. We take pictures. We kind of inspect the same stuff and say the same thing. But what makes me decide to rent one particular type of rental car than another one? And it's a combination of things. There are reasons why a consumer chooses one over the other. And there are various reasons why a person would choose a home inspection company over another inspection company. And when a company does well in all of those strategic decision factors that influence a consumer's decision, it enjoys a competitive advantage in its market. And a competitive advantage is achieved when a home inspection company does better than its competitors on those combination of factors. And the combination of those factors results in a perceived value. So when I was looking for the right van to rent, I was looking for certain things that provided overwhelming value to me. And I thought, well, if the overwhelming value is perceived to be much greater than the cost, then it's a good decision for me. So when the perceived value is greater than the cost, it's a good decision. If someone lands on Eric's website tonight And the value of hiring Eric, right, is about the same as the cost. Eric's got a problem with his website. He's not convincing. He's not hitting those decision factors. There's a combination of reasons why somebody would hire Eric over Roger based upon their value that they're presenting. So let's assume that the decision factors that people use when choosing to hire Big Ben Inspections in comparison with other companies are these. You got the price, you got services, reviews, agent referrals, qualifications, and risk. There could be others. Those are some of the, certainly the list of minimal things that people consider. So let's rank each one, each factor, based upon the customer's perspective from 1 to 10. And the following graph kind of illustrates the ranking. Let's just assume in this example, the qualifications of the inspector are poor. So let's see if I could highlight that. Oh. So we've got these factors over here: price, services, reviews, agent referral, qualifications, and risk. And let's say that the perceived value of the qualifications of the inspector right here is 4, and it's up to here, right? It's 4. It's kind of low. And reviews right here are ranked 1 because the company gets a ton of negative reviews, or maybe there's no Google reviews at all. And risk, which is here, is inversely proportional, meaning that if there are no risks in hiring the inspection company, if there are no risks in hiring Big Ben Inspections, then the ranking is 10. That's a good ranking. This information could be illustrated also by a music soundboard, a mixing board, or a mixer, which takes multiple inputs and merges them together as a single result, right? Think of each consumer decision factor as an input on the mixing board. And your job as a business owner is to push each slide up as far as possible. Push each consumer decision factor as positively and favorably as much as possible, as high as possible. So let's see if I can, let's share this one short video with you. Hold on a second.
That's not my knee shirt.
Let's slide this over. Oh, oh. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
Short reaction is to spend a lot of money on Google in hopes that that's going to do something for my business. I'm really about having 100 things that you got to do well to run a successful home inspection business. And you do each one just a little bit, improve each one. Write your inspection report a little bit better tonight. Check out your business card, redesign your logo a little bit better. Look at your website, tweak that one page a little bit better. Go over here, clean your car a little bit better, get it shined up, figure out where to go to get it cleaned every day. Improve your apparel, right? Do you know why? This is marketing, by the way. Do you know why I have inspector on the back of my home inspection shirt? It doesn't say peach, does it? It says home inspector or inspector. Because if I'm on the property, I've already been hired. I don't have to market that, right? So what I realized was when I'm on the property and part of my brand is to be there early, a lot of people thought I was a thief because I would be there at 7:30 in the morning, walking around a vacant home on the outside with a flashlight. So what I wanted to do was tell everybody, without telling them, tell the neighbors not to shoot me because I've got inspector on my back, right? If I had peach on my back, what the heck's that mean? So it's kind of like those marketing, you have to think of everything. It's not one thing in your business is going to take you to be a millionaire. It's all about improving a lot of things just a little bit. And that is multiplied into something exponential. If you are really good technically as a home inspector, but you stink at marketing, you'll fail. And the other way is true too. If you're a great marketer and they find out that you can't inspect the thing, that's no good either. So you kind of have to be good at all these things and don't focus on just one thing, like spending $1,000 this month on Google ads, Ronaldo, right? So you have to get your basics down first and totally exploit all of the free resources that InterNACHI provides to its members for free, or the low cost things like customizing home maintenance books and knowing how to use them. That's one of the things.
So I don't know if you've seen that video before, but that's why I wanted to show you that there's a combination of things. And I think of it as a mixing board and slide things over. Looks like we have one more guy in Richard. A couple fellas show up late. So let's look at why Big Ben Inspections is struggling and identify which factors should be pushed higher. If the customer's perceived value derived from the combination of price and other strategic factors is low, then it's a business problem that the business owner needs to correct immediately. So if we look, we've got price. If I can highlight it here, we got price here, which is the customer's cost of receiving what's valuable to them. Well, it's about 6, so that's pretty good. Services, that's the range of quality inspection services performed competently by the inspector, and services is there, and that's 7, so that's good. Reviews suck. So reviews is other customers' good, positive feedback for the company. Reviews is really down. Agent referrals, that's how well the company is maintaining cooperative business relationships with real estate professionals. That's really good. So that's 8, that's really high. Qualifications of the inspector, oddly enough, that's 4. That's not very good. So that's kind of low. And risk. Risk is the inverse chance that the customer's expectations are not met. Well, it's 10. So there's no risk in this example, meaning very little risk in hiring the company. So the 2 factors that the business owner needs to work on are reviews and training the inspectors, right? And that's pretty easy to do. You got to focus on what's not working. If you don't, this company is never going to gain and maintain a competitive advantage. And all these things are taught about in the masterclass, which I think all of you are enrolled in, especially in trying to gain competency in technical knowledge in performing inspections and helping you address customers' concerns. So let's talk about some of the decision factors like pricing and value. You got to know how to price your services, right? And provide overwhelming value. And we go over that in the masterclass on actually how to use math to price your services and ancillary services and provide overwhelming value. And getting certified in numerous services, go to our certification page, which has over 60 different types of certifications, and diversify your services like Eric does by doing radon tests, right? If Eric didn't diversify his services, have vertical markets in his business, he wouldn't be doing as well as he is now. He's doing radon inspections, right? Receiving Google reviews, masterclass, we show you how to do that. It's free. Google wants you to get reviews. It's very easy to do. Somebody can show you and walk you through it. There's how-to videos on how to embed a button on your website in order to get a Google review. If you have a customer base, to send out an email or a request or a text to get Google reviews, I would say for the past 2 months or 3 months, not more than longer than that, people kind of forget who we are after a couple months. The masterclass shows you how to convince agents to refer their clients to you. They're always hesitant. We were talking about going to open houses and meeting new agents because it's the new agents that do open houses. And becoming trained and qualified as an inspector. You got to get trained and qualified. And if you're hiring, you got to get all of your inspectors trained and qualified. And that's easy through InterNACHI online courses. And then reducing the risk of hiring a company, maybe you can offer something like the buyback program. It costs a little extra per job, but just don't add to your overhead, just raise your inspection fees in order to cover that. And then there's the 0 factor, right? A lot of inspection companies that are struggling, we start to look at what they're doing, and there's usually a 0 in the factor. So if you, in math, if you take 6 times 7 times 1, that equals 42. But if you change any of those numbers to a 0, it's a 0. The result is 0. And that's terrible for your inspection business. So some inspectors, like I just talked to an inspector yesterday, and he doesn't have a website, right? That would be a 0. You gotta have a website. And dummy me, I can build a website in just a few minutes, actually, for free. I like Weebly, there's Wix, there's Squarespace, there's other things. Even if you use like Square, that Striker thing on your phone or something, they'll do a website for you. So you gotta have a website. You can't have any zeros. So watch out for any zeros in your business. To run a successful business, you could research the decision factors relevant to the needs of your potential clients. And you can find out what those decision factors are. Remember, we had a list of things that people think of when they decide to purchase something or to hire someone. So you can use post-inspection customer surveys. I did that. I had them by hand, actually. I gave them a card that helped them document their good feelings right after the inspection, right? And I kept it for myself. I archived it, and then I shared it with potential clients. You can ask clients directly, what do they need, in order to align your services to their needs. Because some clients just want a summary of something wrong in their house to negotiate over, and that's their need, and you ought to align your services to meet that need. If you don't provide a summary or cost estimates or a way to, or just guesstimates, maybe you're not meeting your client's needs. If you are doing a 5-6 hour home inspection and that's not what your clients need, you're gonna be left out, right? You're gonna be not in harmony with your client's needs. You have to solve their problems. They got lots of problems. You have to figure out what those problems are. And then you can interview real estate agents, and we kind of show you how to do that in the masterclass as well. And all of this stuff, I got from an article from the Harvard Business Review. If you don't know the Harvard Business Review, they have fantastic articles about business, small business, large corporations, management, marketing, business strategies, and resources. I highly recommend signing up for their newsletter. It comes out, it's free. You can get the really good one for like $1 a month or something like that. But Harvard Business Review. So I read it a lot, and then I converted it, the information to something useful for the InterNACHI and InterNACHI School. And as you all know, InterNACHI School, internachi.edu, it's a college now, and we're coming up on our review in order to extend our college accreditation. So you've all taken the masterclass, hopefully, or you're all in it. And we can talk about that or anything else you all want to talk about, because that's what the coaching session is all about, actually. Just getting together and helping each other out. So anybody have any questions, or you guys want to talk about anything, or who needs a few things? Who needs a few answers to some problems? Roger?
I got lots of questions.
Yeah, hit it.
On my website, I don't have a whole lot of my background. I came from 28 years as a oil and gas landman. And those first 2 words may, in Colorado, kick out half of my clientele.
Yeah, well, you know, my house runs on on fuel.
There's that's another discussion.
Well, you don't have to say oil and gas. You can just talk about what did you do? What did you actually do? What is your competency?
I was the guy who worked directly with the landowners to find locations for wells and compensate them in the end, troubleshoot, keep the company from doing stupid things, which was generally constant, educating my my client or my employer about what's really happening on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, my
So
favorite thing.
you have decades of assessing a property and solving people's problems in an efficient manner so everyone gets to their goals without wasting a lot of time or money. That's fantastic. I mean, that's like 30 years of business management, right? So if you're hesitant about using the word oil or fuel or fracking or anything like that, I would be too. Those are hot words that may not be necessary in a marketing strategy, right? You have to find common ground in order to market to the biggest pool of people. So in marketing, I think of it as a funnel. What you want to do is have that opening funnel as big as possible. And then you kind of funnel into people into your pipeline, right? You always marketing is all about capturing as big as possible, your net when you're fishing. So I wouldn't use a net that has a couple holes in it, right? I use a net that is.
Reason I'm asking the question.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, don't use oil and gas in your marketing, but you use the skill sets, describe the skill sets that you have, you know, and you have 30 years of experience in that. I feel it's difficult for young folks. You know, I was 23 when I was doing home inspections and no one trusted me, right? No one at all. I was just this little kid, right? And then I had to work really hard. So if I was competing with you and I was 20 something, yeah, I'd have to talk about something else. I have no experience. So you should blow me out of the water with your experience. That's an advantage, right? And then during class, I'll talk to the young inspectors, and I'll tell them exactly what to do, you know, to turn their lemons into lemonade, right? Because they're young, right? Then they can communicate in ways that other older fellas like me prefer not to, right? I like to talk to people face to face and on the phone, but the millennials, they love doing every transaction by text or by a click of a button, right? They don't want to talk to anybody. You know, you got to have a presence online with Instagram and things like that. So there's different ways to gain a competitive advantage using the things that you are and things that you have done in the past, for sure. What do you think?
I think that's great.
It's a matter of putting those skill sets into happy words that people can relate to, as you say.
Yep. So yeah, I would take about a half an hour tonight and write down the things that you've done in your past without saying your job description or job title, right? Think about the description of your job. What were the actual things that you did in order to help solve problems?
I also spent 12 years as a commercial property and casualty agent.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So it's all about assessing and making decisions and communicating in a better way, right? So you've done that for decades. If you can get that down into 3 sentences, right? And then say it in front of a camera, that'd be really good. Make a little video, that'd be really good. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just something out there. Ding. That'd be really good.
Ben, I got a question for you because
Yeah.
I did follow, remember last time when I asked you about inspection time, and then you kind of posted your inspection timeline.
Yeah.
Just a couple times. It's coming around. So it didn't take me 5 hours this time. It took me about 3.5 hours for doing a 2,300 square feet. So it's getting better.
Good.
Yeah, but the other question is that I do have a lot of concern about realtors not getting back to me, because I guess when I think about my own situation after the inspection, I never talked to inspectors. I think it's the same norm for realtors too, that I try to get some feedback on when they, after they looked at my report and saying that, hey, I need some feedback on how I did. What's my report look like? How is it compared to others that you've seen before? Give me some feedback. It's like I have zero response from those things, you know?
Yeah, Eric.
I can answer that one. What I do is when I turn over the report, I always give it to the client, and then I also give it to the realtor if the client says okay. And then I make immediately phone call to the realtor, and I say, yeah, I sent you the report. Here's what I found. I just give them a brief synopsis of the report, and then I ask them, hey, in 2 days I'd like to get back with you, go over any questions you have with the report, and then I would love your feedback on what you thought of my report. That way I already have it scheduled.
You know, because I'll give you one example, all right, because that's exactly, because I use a Spectra as my software.
Mhm.
So that like a Spectra has an automatic email response going out. So I do call realtors and clients right after I release my report. And I talk to realtors and I would like to get back to you in about a couple of days, or 2 or 3 days, and ask you some feedback on my report, right? And then an email goes out to remind them about what I just told them. And then one lady, she responded me back and saying, I am unsubscribing you right now. Stop sending me an email. Clean. What the hell is this? You know? And like whenever I talk to realtors, because they want me to tell them what the major problems are, so they do respond well right after the inspection. And then I ask them, how do you like the report right now? It's like, it looks great. It's different than what they have seen before. And after they digest it, going through the fine comb, and I try to ask them questions, I have a zero response.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I like Eric's approach, where you actually ask permission to communicate with them again.
And I never ask for feedback. I always ask, when I reschedule that 2 days later, I'm scheduling to go over the report and ask, because now it gives them 2 days of actually looking at the report before they turn in their repair list. So during that conversation, then I asked them at the very end, hey, give me some, I'm big on criticized or, different type of feedback. So let me know, what did I do good and what did I do wrong on that report? What would you like to see in that report? And I've never had a realtor say, well, I'm not going to go over that with you. So I get a lot of I get some criticism on mine, and I get a lot of good points on mine. And realtors love that communication, because we all know we work for the client that hired us, but you're also working for the realtor too. You want to be not necessarily on their side, because you want to make sure that client's getting the full view of that home and the full aspect of that home. And I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to do, because I guess I call that as a learning process each realtors that I meet. So I like to learn what their particulars are, and it's kind of hard to find,
Right.
How about following up with the client?
A client is awesome, because I call them right after I release the report, and 2 days, actually day and a half, because normally I release the report in the evening, and then not the following day, but next day I call during the morning time and see if they have any questions.
Yeah.
They said that they like the report, they like the thoroughness and everything, but realtors is the one they're hard to get.
Well,
How about asking them to speak to their realtor about you, about their experience? If they had a great experience, maybe just ask them. Like when I'm asked a question, ask for a favor, like I'll do it. I just won't do somebody a favor unless I'm prompted. So maybe ask your clients to do you a favor and speak well of your services to their agent. That would really help you out.
absolutely. And one of the big things, Ben, I found that, everybody says you have to adapt and change with the times. So what I do now that has worked for me in the last 2.5 months is I now send out a Zoom meeting request to the client and to the realtor to go over the entire report. So now I have both of them together, the client and the realtor,
Yep.
on one computer call.
Yep.
And that's been working great. I've actually had other realtors jump on because from the same company trying to learn what I do. And I've gotten a new realtors out of the like Simeon. I had 4 Simeon realtors jump on at the same time just because I was the only inspector that did this type of thing for them, and they really, really appreciated it. And now I have 4 new realtors that are calling me. So,
Yep.
I like that.
I've heard the same thing. I've heard home inspectors say that they're inviting agents to a quick Zoom meeting in order to go over something.
yeah, 10 minutes
to
or less.
confirm something. Yeah. Yep. And they click the button and they go on. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll try that next time I do an inspection. Cause
Yeah, you can share your screen and go over the report line by line, or just a summary, or whatever. Yeah, or just a particular photo. Yeah, I've heard that from other inspectors.
and the other one is like you just mentioned that my marketing strategy was not only on the digital side, but I go to visit open houses on the weekend, and then I meet the new realtors. That's how I got most of my business, and still these days, you know.
Yep.
But now I'm trying to expand it. I'm trying to get them to invite me over to their meeting. How do I need to start that, you know?
Yep. I've had inspectors share that they are reaching out to realtors using Instagram and messaging on their Instagram account. Just striking up a conversation, very short, sweet comments or requests. And then, let's see, what was his name? I can't remember the home inspector's name, but he just said that he's been asking real estate agents out for coffee, but not actually meeting up, but just starting that conversation. Hey, would you like to meet up with a cup of coffee? And that starts the conversation, he says.
Oh, because that's what I do could normally. So after coming back from the open house, I send an introduction email out to all the people that I met. And then 2 days later, the Tuesday or Wednesday, I start making a phone call to them, follow-up phone calls, and ask them to meet in person. So far, I had about 10 of them. I met up with them over coffee, talked about what I do, show my report and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's been really great, you know. But
Don't let him buy.
Just the coffee.
You buy that coffee. You make sure you buy that coffee. Insist.
What I've done, I got actually a whole group of realtors of this complex had 50 realtors in it, and I think most of them use me now. I'm either their number 1 or number 2. So what I do is I keep a business card caddy kind of like this one, just full of realtor business cards. And then I pull out 1 card a week or every other week. I call that realtor up and say, hey, look, you won my Instagram contest. Nobody knew about it, but you now get bagels for your entire group. How many people do you have at your office? And then I don't even show up. I just hand deliver or have a delivery company deliver these bagels to their next meeting.
Heck yeah.
And, I have a big thank you sign on the box that says, hey, these bagels are courtesy of Precision Home Inspections. For your next inspection, try me out. Enjoy breakfast.
That is killer. That is working leads. That's a
It cost me
rare
$50.
skill. That's rare that I hear a home inspector working leads from grabbing business cards. We used to grab them all and take them off the kitchen counter, and then we realized we could just take a picture and leave them there.
Well, I'm not, Ben, I'm not that millennial. I'm one of the old guys like you. So.
This is a stack of business cards that I collected last 2 months right now.
I still have I still have a card caddy a Rolodex that I
Yeah.
keep phone numbers in.
Yep. Yeah, those are the leads. It's in the leads. You know, Glenn Ross. That's a great movie. If you haven't watched it.
ABC.
Yeah, ABC. Always be closing. Always be working that pipeline, because you have to have a huge pipeline. You have to have a huge funnel opening in order to have whatever your goal is every month. 10, 15 jobs, 20 jobs. It's almost like a factor of 10 or 20. You have to contact, talk with, touch 100 people in order to convert 10, 20%?
80-20 rules. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I do a lot of
Hey,
marketing to mortgage companies also. I get a lot of business from mortgage companies.
Yep. So
Hey,
right
Sang,
now,
you mentioned.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Hafiz.
Sang, you mentioned earlier that you attend a lot of Digit open houses. How and where is that? I've never heard of that at all. I can Google it up, but if you
No, like real estate agent, they do, one of their marketing strategy is to show the house in real, that called the open house. And then these days, after the markets or economy has opened up, they started the open houses again where I am.
Yep.
So that only happens on the weekend. It rarely happens during the day, during the weekdays. So my weekend is like there's a certain hours they open, so like 11 to 2 or sometimes 2,
right.
Stuff like that. You gotta find.
Oh, I guess I misunderstood you. I thought you meant like Digit, like an online open house rather than a physical open house. That's kind of what I was alluding to. So I misunderstood you there. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, I misunderstood you there. Right.
Just like Ben said, because like
I got
most
you.
of the people that comes out to the open house, most of the agent that comes out to the open house is like a newer people,
Right.
Because I'm in the market. There's already existing home inspectors has like over 300 inspectors around here. So in order to find a niche, I gotta go after those newbies,
Right. So the question I have for you, Ben, is so I've had some of my leads have been 3 realtors for the past 3 months or so. And one of them is just brand new. And she was using a gentleman before, and she decided to try me out. She's actually my neighbor, right? My 3rd or 4th house down. And she tried me out. But that was my first paid inspection. And of course, I was nervous during that time, but I provided a solid, solid home report. So now that I've had some experience, what I wanted to do was kind of reintroduce myself to her. That this are now, because now I have a home gauge. I'm using home gauge software. I have an iOS device and I have online reporting, and I think I'm a little bit more experienced now. So I just kind of wanted to reintroduce myself to her again. Like, this is all what I do. And I just kind of wanted to get like a 2-minute punch, quick hitters that'll make her go, oh, okay, I see you've improved in this, that, and that area. Okay, let me try you out again. That was kind of my first question to you, and to the other gentleman there. And the tips was greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I loved dropping a note to agents and giving them an update on what we're doing. We're always improving our inspection company, hiring somebody new, having a new equipment, adding. I remember just adding infrared, and then telling all my agents we're adding infrared. That just skyrocketed our business. So if you're doing something that makes your reports easier to read and clearer to understand, like using home gauge or using a mobile device in order to capture data quicker or something, or produce a report faster. I forgot your third thing that you had, but yeah, having something of value to drop, just a note, just to keep in touch with those good clients. And man, if I have a real estate agent, she lives right there, my neighbor, and my neighbor knows I'm a home inspector. In fact, my entire neighborhood knows that I'm the inspector. They know my truck. They know I drive the home inspection truck. They know that I'm the inspector. My wife and my kids tell everybody that I'm the inspector. I'm not even a home inspector anymore, right? I do home inspections with a camera following me to produce training videos, but everybody knows that I'm the inspector. My next spin around the neighborhood is if anybody has any problems, I'll come over, right? If you've got a roof leak, I got a moisture meter and infrared, right? So you can just start to drop those hints to your agents and also your neighbors, right? That I'm the fella who you should call if your dishwasher's leaking. Probably a gasket, but let me take a look at it. Who knows where that will lead, right? If you're doing it on the weekend, you're out and about anyways, stop watching TV, you know, except when football starts. You can't mess around with football. You gotta have football time. But you're always selling. You're always talking. And I just enjoy home inspections so much. I'm always just looking at everyone's stuff. I go around the neighborhood and I look for clogged dryer vents. And then I tell the person, hey, you got something going on here, you know? So it's always, I don't know, I just love it. I just love being an inspector and talking about inspections.
Right.
And if you've got something new to say, that's golden. If you have nothing to say, that sucks. How are you gonna keep in contact with agents, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Because I was because I was wondering, because I wanted to do like a refresh email or text blast. And one thing that I did do, I did that biz market from InterNACHI, and a gentleman from Inspect Media had reached out to me, and I guess they were probably market my business on Facebook and Instagram moving forward. So I was gonna do a new campaign. So I was kind of waiting a little bit before I reached out to my neighbor, because I wanted to reach out to her and other prospective realtor too as well. I just rode my bike around the neighborhood. I started seeing some for sale sign and I started getting phone numbers. Yeah. And my idea was to just, okay, the next 10 numbers that I see here, I wanted to do an introduction to those guys as well. But perhaps I should reach out to my neighbor first, because she gave me my first business. Yeah. And I just, I guess I didn't want to mix the personal relationship with the business. So I was kind of giving her distance. But I'm just going to go out and just send her this new information, I guess, is what I'm getting from you guys. You just got to keep talking about it. That's what I'm getting.
Eric, you had something to say? Oh, sorry. We lost Eric. Eric's video just freezes.
Yeah, it just froze there. It's frozen.
Eric, you were going to say something?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. This internet. I think I have 5 kids that are probably all on the internet right now.
Oh yeah. Same here.
So, but 2 of my biggest marketing, the things that I do now, one, I put door hangers on all the houses I see for sale. So, during my downtime, I'm not door knocking. I'm not doing any of that. I just put a door hanger on. And it just basically introduces myself, and I have a $10 off coupon on a home inspection if they decide to use me, and they have to have that flyer with them. So,
how do you make it?
Huh?
How do you make it?
I make it right here on my computer.
And you cut it out with scissors?
Yeah, I have a program that does it.
Cool.
What's the name of that program, Eric?
I have no idea.
You can just send it to us later, I guess. Yeah.
I have to look at it. I've been using it for a guy that owns a company that does signs. He gave me it. So.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I get supplies from him. So, and that company is called Envoy, and they do marketing promotions here in Louisville, Kentucky. But the next biggest thing that I do, every Sunday, I go to a couple of Kroger stores. That's a grocery store here. I'm sure y'all got them around. And I go to the floral department where they do the balloons, and I give the head of the floral department, say, here's $50. Any realtor that comes in and gets balloons, put my card on it and say, this is a complimentary from me. You don't have to pay today. And I've gotten a lot of business off of that. It's a $2 balloon that they put on their open house, and it's worked huge for me.
Yeah.
Eric, I know this is
excellent.
I know this is the coaching section with Ben, but man, we need to stay in touch with you.
I know. Eric should be leading the meeting here.
I'm only on, I really love the master class. Ben is teaching me a lot.
Good.
I listened to a lot of your old YouTube videos.
Good.
And my goal is I want to be a $100,000 company. I'm nowhere near that yet. So it's constantly growing, constantly learning. In my downtimes when I'm not doing inspections, I'm on something like this where I'm learning something.
Yeah.
And I keep adding, and I have goals. So every couple months I add a new auxiliary thing. My next one is going to be probably thermal imaging or sewer scope. And that type. Only thing I can't add on in Kentucky is termite, because you got to have crazy licensing for that. So, but yeah, it's a progress. I'm going into my 4th year, and every year I've built. So I've never had a downturn.
This is what I did for termite. Here in Florida, I have to have a license to do the WDO inspection. So, but in order for me to get the license, I had to go work for somebody for 3 years even before taking the exam. So what I did was I found a couple different termite inspectors that I recommend from other inspection companies here. I partner with them. So whenever I hear about VA loans, like when I talk to realtors about the inspection, I ask them what kind of loan their client's going to get. And if I hear VA or FHA, and they're most than likely they need a termite inspection, I just drop the names and say, hey, you don't have to set up the termite inspection. I got a good guy, a well-known company that I'm partnering with. So like if you want to use them, I could give you the phone number so that they don't have to go out of their way to find another termite inspector. So that's what I've been spreading. So I picked up, so it's good for business practice as well too. It's like a referral to your partners too. I did about 7 of them so far to refer to the termite inspections, you know?
Yep.
And those realtors know that like if they call me, that I can set up the termite inspection for them at the same time I do the inspection, so they didn't have to show up at different time either.
Hey, Sang, we got the Florida Department of Agriculture to say a home inspector, upon observing some apparent WDO damage during the home inspection, can state that he or she observed damage to wood or the structure, but the inspector cannot state that it was due to a WDO organism. As long as they're not diagnosing this condition or stating that it's due to termites or some other pest, you're okay. So
yes,
during the home inspection. Yeah.
I read that too, because that was the first thing I looked up when I joined the InterNACHI was I want to be a one-stop shop for the realtors. So I looked at termite, I looked at mold, you know. So I use that term, like I use a microbial for the mold, and then termite. I just said that pest infestation is more than likely that you want to get a professional on that. That's what I do.
Yeah, and everybody and every home inspector should be doing infrared. I mean, it's just like a flashlight, in my opinion. Don't worry about levels or fancy certifications. You got to know what you're looking at for sure, because it's completely different. It doesn't make any sense sometimes what you're looking at, and it could really screw you up if you use your mouth without knowing what you're looking at. But everybody should use infrared. I mean, if you can find the investment, just a few $100, you can get like a FLIR camera for several $100s, and then just tell everybody that you use infrared. It's really, really good.
I was going to ask a question about videos. I don't know if y'all can hear me.
Yeah, Roger.
Okay, good. Short videos, maybe setting up a YouTube account. I just believe that the videos really catch people's attention. How do y'all feel about that? And I mean, it's like maybe 1 minute if you're doing, say, the exterior of the home, pointing something out. And it's not necessarily to be teaching them about the home. It's space time.
Yep. Well, are you asking me, Richard?
You, anyone else?
Yeah.
Maybe someone else just use that.
I will jump on what you said there. Rich, I think in one of Ben's YouTube videos, you mentioned doing a quick 10, 20-second video, and you can even use that book. Now that you've had your home inspected, there are tons of materials in there. So, so I'm so glad that you asked that question, Richard, because I was about to ask the same thing. And I just did one really quick around basement moisture, what you do for moisture and the areas to look at. I have not posted it yet because I'm not 100% sure if I wanted to post it yet. So great question there, Richard. So I'm just piggybacking on what you said. And I was following Brent's comments and I'm using that book. And I'll throw it back out there.
Before I post any video,
Yeah, there you go.
I read this book and I regurgitate what it says on this book on the video.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm waiting InterNACHI to send me mine. I just ordered a whole bunch of those books custom made for my business.
Good. Hey, if you have any time, you yell at me and I'll yell at them, okay?
They said they're supposed to be out next week, so.
Okay. Okay.
And Richard, I don't know if you used it, like Sang said, he just regurgitated what's in that book. So I just downloaded a teleprompter software and I just typed in my notes in there, right? And then you just using the iPhone teleprompter, I can just record the video, just pretty much just reading it because, you know, I can just read verbatim what's in that book and that does the job for me. But once again, I have not posted it yet, but once again, it still goes back to Ben and how strongly you, you know, you suggest us using that.
Okay, thank you.
Right there.
Okay, I got it.
I think you're on mute, Ben.
Ben, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, I've got a teleprompter app on my phone. Haven't used it for a while, but it's very easy. I mean, you can just type whatever you want to say and you don't have to try to remember. You're not an actor, you know, trying to remember your lines. And, you know, I use other resources like I just mentioned, the Harvard Business Review. And there's so many stats on real estate agents getting online because there's nothing else to do for some of them. And so, you know, what are they doing? You know, they're watching little videos. And where are they? They're online, Instagram, Facebook. You know, no one reads anymore. Nobody reads anymore. No one reads. And no one reading your inspection report, by the way. So no. I just had Alan Carson from Carson Dunlop. They do Horizon, Spectora. Every software provider says that no one really reads your report. But they do read the summary and they take action on the summary and they do look at the pictures and watch the video. So you may want to consider that. Video is powerful.
I question if they read the summary sometimes. After what I've been dealing with lately with one of them, so it's been a mess.
And if you, Richard, if you do a video, you know, the marketing folks, experts tell me you got to figure out who you're talking to. Like, are you talking to other home inspectors and try to like one them up, or are you talking to potential clients, existing clients, real estate agents? You know, as soon as you understand who you're talking to, then you just talk to your friend who's looking to buy a home, right? And you want to say that, you know, you found this. You know, not all homes have bad problems, but some do. And if you hire me, I can find this one just like this. And maybe you show them a problem. And it doesn't have to be like scary, right? It can just be like, you know, home maintenance kind of thing. Maybe something more difficult than cleaning your gutters, you know, and that's what you want to know before you buy your first home.
One suggestion, I guess, since everybody's giving tips, that I do is when I get the appointment, I pull up the listing, of course, get the details from the listing on the home itself, but then I'll also take the listing agent's information down, text them, and there's always going to be a question typically about the home. I just bypass the buyer's agent in order to make a touch with the listing agent, because while they're the listing agent now, they could be the buyer's agent on the next one. So I'm trying to make not only the buyer agent contact, but the other one involved.
For sure.
It's simple. It's just usually a text. I may get a phone call. I may have repeated texts with them, like I had on the home the other day where the water was turned off. And I texted them, would it be okay to turn the valve on? Is it safe? I don't know if anything's going to become of that, but as y'all mentioned, the more times you reach out and make yourself known, the more likelihood that your name's going to maybe pop up, or maybe they take your name down and your number when it pops up in their phone and they make you a contact person. You just don't know. There's so much uncertainty to all this. But
on every transaction, there's a ton of people that you're bumping up against, right? There's a real estate agent for the buyer, real estate agent for the seller. There's your client, and there's the homeowner, and there's a few other people that you may bump into. There could be a property manager. There could be an office manager for a particular office who knows other agents, and there's family members sometimes on the weekends, and there's a huge number of people that you can come in contact with. So in our business, we actually tracked how many sellers we convinced to hire us, right? Not every seller, because sometimes they're moving out of the state or out of the zone, and I can't get there. I can't go to the next city. But if they're just moving within, 20, 30 miles, they're my client. They're my potential client, and they're right there. They may not be present at the inspection, but man, they are going to know that I was in their home because I'm going to leave something behind. I usually left a gift. It was at least a business card or an offer, or it was candy. So yeah. Every seller was a potential client. And man, imagine not taking that lead. I'm sure Eric does, right? I'm sure Eric goes on that lead because we're in the kitchen of someone who is not only just selling their home, but they have to move and buy a home, right? So, and I'm in their kitchen. If I don't take advantage of that opportunity, I'm not a good business owner.
I even leave a business card in vacant homes.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
yeah, I never understood about leaving a business card in the attic. I mean, what the heck was that? Did you ever get that? A home inspector left a business card like in a crawl space or something? Like, all right, big deal. Like, you're here. That doesn't help your business. I don't care.
Hey,
oh well.
Ben, I tell you, I found a home inspector who's well known in this area. I won't mention names. He left his business card behind the dead front in the panel, and it was scorched on parts of it.
Oh.
And the buyer's agent was standing there when I pulled the dead front off. I was like, oh my gosh, look at that. And the realtor goes, I used to use that guy all the time. So,
used to, that's the key word.
Used to. But one of the big things that I get a kick out of is, Ben, I used your all's, this bedroom is now monster free when I know there's a little kid in that room.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I left one of those on a doorknob in a house that was still occupied. And it looked like it was a little girl that stayed in this room. So I left this sign. Well, they called me up and said they just fired their other home inspector because they loved the monster sign and the little girl was worried about monsters in the new home. So I got that inspection too, just leaving that on a doorknob.
And you never know. You never know.
I do use your I downloaded that leave behind letter. I kind of like that. It shows me what I do. So every time I do inspection, I take my shoes off and change out to the indoor shoes or just use my socks to go around. So people love that. So ever since I heard the first comment, I downloaded your leave behind letter with my business card staple so that people kind of got the good feedback on that one too.
Yeah, when we would hire new inspectors, we'd put them on the simple stuff, windows, doors, interior, and things like that. And we made sure that inspector respected that house so well that when you would approach that inspector, it would be they'd be quiet and they'd be respectful and they'd be moving. They weren't like opening and closing doors and going real fast. It was nice and slow and respectful. They weren't slamming the cabinets, So yeah, slipping on the shoes was a really good idea that we had a long time ago. and just,
Yeah.
we don't even wear outdoor shoes inside the home. You know, we bring our
Right.
slippers in. You know,
I had a client. She told me to put on the, the coverall, the cover shoes, and I immediately told her. I said, I do have this indoor shoes that I normally wear, and I make sure I never use it anywhere else but indoors. But for your respect, I'll still put the coverall on it too as well.
sure.
I don't want
Yeah.
to go back and forth, but yeah, absolutely. I have one question regarding marketing. This company called, I don't know if anybody has used them, Inspect Media. Does anybody know about them at all? Have you used them?
Inspect Media. Let me see.
Inspect Media.
Is that the one that are offering 2 videos for $49.99?
They were offering $100 per month to promote your business, home inspection business on Facebook, and $2.99 for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and then $4.99 for all of those three, including
that's-
Google Analytics.
Yeah, that's Eric Gromicko.
Oh, Inspector Media.
Yes,
Inspector Media. Yes,
Yeah,
Inspector
that's
Media.
Yeah, that's my nephew. Well,
Okay.
it's not his company. He works for the company. He's one of the people who does all the marketing stuff, right?
Okay. All right, good. I just
I
wanted
would,
to make sure they were, go ahead.
Yep. I would contact him. If you want to include me in the conversation, feel free. If you ever have any problems, that's why I always do it. Whenever there's like a family member or inspector outlet, that's my nephew too. That's Nikolai. Let's see, Alicia, my wife.
I think
does
his
the
name was
newsletter.
Daniel. Yeah, Daniel
Yep.
something was his name, the
So-
guy who contacted me.
If you have any problems with anybody related to InterNACHI, you be sure to get me.
No problem at all. I contacted them. I signed up with them last week, Monday, for the entry level, Facebook only. And I was just curious. I'm like, okay, I need to start seeing some traction here. And I just thought it was going to be 3 days. And you told me about 5 to 7 days. So I just wanted to ask the general gentleman here if you've used them before. And thank you, Ben, for letting me know about them. So I feel better right now about it. So good. Excellent.
I got one question for you, because one of the real estate agent that asked me if I wanted to do a new build. I said, sure. That's what I used to do when I was in the military, inspecting the new construction for contractors, right? I have no problem inspecting it, but at the same time, the builder sent me an email saying that like insurance and a license and all that, that's good. He asked me to send a report to them directly after 2 days of inspecting. That kind of catches my eyes. Did you have that experience? If you did, how do you handle that? Because they're not going to pay. They're not paying me. My clients are paying me for their report.
Yeah, I'll let the other guys answer, but you have to be careful with the information you gather for what client. So, my client was the person paying for the information, and I submitted that information to my client who was paying me. And I don't care what other requests I got. I would just tell him, my client is this person. They have the information that you seek. Go contact them.
Okay. I didn't think that's the way I was going to approach it, but I just want to confirm that because I don't want to deal with a third party using my report and coming back to me and all that stuff,
Right. Any other questions? You want to talk about anything? Any needs? You can always email me too. You can just email me any questions, or if you can't find anything, or if you're having problems with something in particular. We're starting to put together more of these mentoring coaching sessions with not just me, but other mentors. So we have a mentoring program and coaches, and I think it's coming up soon. There's a couple mentoring coaching sessions with me and a couple other folks, experts in the industry. But if you ever need any help, you be sure to reach out to somebody. It could be me or someone. Yeah, John.
So I've got a question. I haven't, I've gone through the schooling and all that. I haven't even started a business yet. So I'm still new to this whole home inspection stuff. I used to work in construction. Is it worth getting a blower door test certification and lead test certification as well?
Anybody want to take that? I have an answer, but anybody want to take it?
I don't.
Well, I was EPA lead certified as a lead hazard risk assessor. I thought it was dumb until I started making a lot of money. Lead hazard risk assessors have more power than the police when it comes to protecting children. So you go into a home, you use some baby wipes, 10 minutes later, you're done with the inspection, send the wipes out to a lab. They tell you if there's lead in the dust that you wiped on the window and on the floor. And I usually offered this on old homes where I knew that there was going to be lead paint. And you can see the windows are just scraping and creating powder and dust all over the floor. Though I sold those for like $600 for like 15 minutes of work because I was uniquely certified by the government to do that. And they still have that program. The blower door stuff, I think that's good for new homes that are trying to reach a certain energy efficiency and they're going to do a pressurized test. Otherwise, builders have these alternatives according to code. Like if you don't want to do the pressure test, you can demonstrate that you have extra insulation and weatherization techniques applied somewhere in order to get that energy efficiency and meet that code requirement. So it costs thousands of dollars to do a blower door. They're hard to rent and there isn't much demand. I never heard of much demand for them unless you're in some kind of niche where new homes are being built right next to you and they all need blower door tests. I'd rather spend that money on marketing, printed marketing, an infrared camera, something that has a quick return.
Makes sense. And the other thing is, do you have to be certified to use infrared?
No, there's no law, there's no regulation on using infrared.
Okay.
So it's basically exposing yourself for using a tool that requires you to be trained in interpreting what you see. So a flashlight is easy. We all understand how a flashlight works. It illuminates something, but an infrared camera, it's just like a flashlight. It helps you see things that you wouldn't normally be able to see without it. But to interpret what you're looking at, takes some experience. So I'm the school of hard knocks kind of person, right? We have online training and I've done some videos and that's really all you need. But if you buy one, use it on your home and you'll start to realize, oh, this is how it really works, right? You can fake yourself, throw some water in the corner and let it sit there for a little bit and see how it's cool in the beginning and then it starts to absorb the same air temperature and then it disappears after like an hour, right? And yet it's still wet according to your moisture meter. So, or turn it towards the glass of your window. You can see yourself, right? It's not hot, so there's a lot of weird things that happen with an infrared that you need to really have that hands-on experience doing. So I would crash and burn with your house and with maybe your neighbor's house, your family's house, take the online courses, watch the videos. But man, infrared, every home inspector should have infrared. Everybody should use infrared. It's so good. You could scan an entire room in just a minute. And then, like sometimes defects just jump out at you. And that's just the marketing thing too. So with an infrared, you can see things that other home inspectors can't. I mean, why would I hire a home inspector who just carries a flashlight?
Yeah. So you charge extra for infrared then?
There's two ways to skin that cat. I never did. So I use it just as a flashlight. I actually gave it to my clients at the inspection. I put my hand on the wall and let them scan it. And then they realized what was going on. It was really cool. It's a shock and awe. And then I just raised my fees because of what we talked about earlier in this coaching session about providing overwhelming value. So that overwhelming value was me using infrared and not charging for it, right? But just increasing the value of my core service so that I could charge more. If I can't increase the value of my core service, my price is going to be stagnant. And I didn't want that. I wanted that Eric's goal of hitting 100,000, right? And I did that we just tried to figure out how are we going to overwhelm these people with things that don't cost much, but we can raise our fee for. Yep. But the other way is like my best friend, Will Decker, he's in Chicago. And when things took a dump in the home inspection industry market, he grabbed his infrared camera and started doing thermal scans. And he now makes more money doing them than home inspections. So it all depends on what you want to do. You could split it off, but for me, I made a lot of money just adding on value.
Hey, Ben, quick question for you. So your friend, Will Decker, you say he's in Chicago. I'm from Chicago. Is there a way you can help me with a mentor locally here?
Yeah, he's a mentor. He's an instructor. He's part of the Chicago chapter. The current president is Jeff Merritt. You should reach out to him. Yeah.
Okay. I'll email you about contact later.
He's a great man. He's like 7 feet tall. He's huge. He's a huge fella. Just the largest man I know. He's like a giant, a literal giant walking around, and he wears a fluorescent orange shirt.
Oh, wow. I'll email you to get his contact, Will Decker. The other question I have, and that's for everybody, is do you post your prices on the website? I've heard pros and cons around that. What do y'all think?
Yeah. Well, my personal opinion is I like to tell everybody I want to know how much the pizza costs before I order it. I don't want to have to call the pizza shop and tell them what toppings I want. And then at the end of this conversation, they're going to tell me what it costs. I mean, for me, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I am not going to pick a burger place, drive all the way there. You know what I mean? Like, and then they tell me what the cost is, and then I have to make a decision whether it's worth it or not. Right. I don't, and to have that kind of sales on the phone or by text or email, convincing somebody who's really just price shopping.
Yep.
So I'd rather tell everybody my price. That's my price. I mean, I can't really come down because I've already calculated how much I need to make in order to have a good life and pay my bills and make some profit and go on vacation and do good things in the world. So that's my base price. And if you can't hire me for my base price, then I don't want you to call me and waste my time. I have to find those clients who find so much value in my service that they're willing to pay my price, which is like, I start, so we were at $396, and then we went up after that if it was a bigger house, far away and old, and then we would add on. But everybody knew my base price. So when that phone rang, it was basically me just confirming that, yep, I've got the best burger in town. And I'm ready to schedule with you.
All right, that's my school of thought. And if you're price shopping, then somebody once told me that if they're price shopping, and they're probably gonna be the ones to give you the most problems anyway. Yep. So I just left it on there. You've mentioned infrared camera as an overwhelming value. I've just kind of slowed. I just haven't purchased it yet, and only because my inspection time and report is still taking me a little bit longer than I would like for it to do. So, and I'm just afraid that if I add infrared camera to that, it might take me a little bit longer, but I do see the great benefit of adding it. So, but like Sang, or I don't want to call you out again, Sang, but like Sang mentioned earlier about inspection time, mine is still taking me a little bit longer. And I guess it's just gonna come with time to start to lessen that inspection time. Like I said, I'm just, 3 to 6 months that I've been in the business, so still taking me a little bit longer. And I hope to really shut that down. But I see the huge value in that. It's just a differentiator.
Yep. Yeah, there's some cheap ones out there. There's the iPhone. I don't know what device you use, but there's one iPhone FLIR 1. You plug it in the bottom. That. There's a couple of other ones, but you don't have to get an infrared. You can just use, there's other types of devices that I use, like the laser thermometer. You can shoot that on the ductwork. Yeah, yep. Anything that And then, you know, it's not just anything that you use that's special, like an infrared camera or a laser thermometer, right? Or a GFCI tester or tools of some kind, or a ladder or shoes or something, a hat that you use. Make sure you tell people in your marketing about it, right? So in our marketing, like we used to take pictures of our vans. We had 3 vans, ladder racks, big ladders on the top, right? And that was part of our marketing because we just didn't, it's like using a home maintenance book, like saying, put up, right? You don't give that to your clients as like icing on the cake after the home inspection, right? The real point of using the home maintenance book or any other thing, tool or marketing piece, is to get a job, right? You use it upstream. You use it way upstream. Marketing is all about upstream. So if you get an infrared camera, it isn't about actually, it has something to do with you doing a good home inspection, but it's really about going way upstream, telling everybody that you use an infrared camera or that you offer a free home maintenance book on every home inspection so that you can get potential clients, right? You never wait for the punch. You swing, you tell everybody who you are and what you do. Because who knows what is attractive? It's those, what we mentioned before, right? Those decision factors. If someone's looking for a home inspector who uses infrared, you better tell them way upstream that you use infrared. Don't wait until after they've hired you. It's almost like, you know, whatever.
Okay.
Hey, John, back to your lead thing.
Yeah.
I got a buddy who is a remodeler, and I was talking to him the other day, and he's just fussing all the time about asbestos and lead, whether or not I inspected for that. You know, no, I don't have the certifications yet, but you bet I'm going to get that because there's money right there sitting on the table.
Yeah. Well, I know because I've seen it. I don't know if you guys are members on Facebook for the InterNACHI group, and it's amazing in how a lot of the inspectors out there always question, well, do you think this is lead or do you think this is asbestos? It's like, well, if you don't know, you don't be calling it out. You really need to know beforehand. It's common sense. I mean, you can't just ask someone, hey, is this asbestos? Well, if you don't know, what makes you think they're going to know? Yeah, depending on the age of the house, yeah, you can probably figure it out that way. But in your report, you still can't call it out because you don't know and you're not certified in it. But no, I mean, it makes sense just to get certified in both of those. I mean, like Ben said, he made $600 a pop for 15 minutes just to wipe down for lead. I mean, that's sadly to say, it's easy money.
Does InterNACHI offer the lead certification class, or you have to find out through the state?
What was that?
Does InterNACHI offer a lead certification class as well?
We offer training on it. I've got a really good video about being a lead hazard risk assessor. It's a training video. If you can't find it, just email me. But you got to go to your state. You could. I have the link where you could find your state office and ask them how you become an EPA certified lead hazard risk assessor. And I think it's still required. Back when I got certified, it was a 5-day class. 3 days, it was silly. 3 days you can become a paint inspector, a certified paint inspector, right? Lead paint inspector. And for the extra two days and like $100, you can be that paint inspector's supervisor, right? That's a lead hazard risk assessor. So as a lead hazard risk assessor, you could hire paint inspectors and tell them what to do. And I was like, well, I think I'll do that, right? As a lead paint inspector, you can't actually diagnose or assess or communicate your findings. You need someone else who has a higher certification to do that for you. So I didn't want to be a paint inspector. They got to go around and do all the sampling, right? I just came in and did the lead wipes. That was fantastic.
Lead hazard risk assessor.
Okay, fellas, what do you think? You want to wrap this up?
Can we get each other's contact information in case we need to? A few folks I would like to email, if you don't mind, for additional tips.
Yeah, you want to share? Did you say you want to share everyone's contact information?
Yeah, will that be okay with everyone, or?
Yeah, it's good by me. Yeah? Yeah, Eric? saying?
It's just put it in the Q&A.
I'll put it in the
Probably
chat
be the
box
easiest,
right
right?
now.
Yeah, why don't you just type it in the chat or Q&A?
Okay.
There's mine. You can text me or email me anytime.
Awesome, Eric. I'll put mine in there right now. All right. Great conversation, guys. I really enjoyed it. I picked up a lot of good tips there. The door hanging for sales.
Ben, I just want to thank you as well, because this is my 4th year going into home inspections, and I've been with InterNACHI for about a year and a half now, and just a tremendous amount of wealth and knowledge that I've just gained from just the free stuff you all put out there for all of us. And I've attended the conference up in New Jersey a couple of years ago.
Oh, good.
I missed the last one, and this one was canceled, but I really do appreciate everything that you all do, and I'm looking to keep growing and learning with you and Nick and the full InterNACHI team. So good job to you all. I really appreciate everything.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor. Frankly, this is our 2nd live virtual conference coaching session. Sorry, and if it's valuable to you, it may be valuable to others. I just frankly enjoy it. I like hanging out with other inspectors and talking inspection business. And if you want to participate again, I'm all for it. Just trying to help out. That's really all we try to do at InterNACHI. We just try to provide what you need. So I really appreciate you guys hanging in there. And I just wanted to remind you, like from our beginning presentation, maybe assess where you are, right? Because you all have goals that you want to reach, but to get there, you got to know where you're at. So maybe take a look at these factors here that influence a consumer's decision. Maybe check out your price. Is it competitive? Is it priced accurately so you can make money? Check out your services. Are you diversified? Learn how to get reviews. I mean, it's very easy to do, and it's so powerful. Google loves it when someone leaves a positive review on your business, Google business page, right? Your listing, when someone searches for your business. They know that this is somebody that people like, and they will keep sending people to you. Get agent referrals. It's very easy to get them. You just have to work them. And then check out your inspector qualifications. Make sure you're telling everybody that you're highly qualified to do the job that people are expecting you to do, and lower the risk. Lower the risk by a couple ways. There's the buyback program. Make sure you're insured just to protect your own assets, but to make sure that you are lowering the risk so that people can approach you in an easy way and make referrals to you because they kind of trust you. So maybe take a look at those factors again, like we talked about in the beginning of the coaching session. Alrighty?
Let me one last thing, echo what Ben just said about the Google reviews. That's a gold mine. Actually, my roofer contact turned me on to it 7 years ago. And I'd like to have more. I have 50, but I get a call at least once a week, some stuff that they read online.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's totally free.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you get the right feel from your client, agent, hit them up. It only takes them 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't ask everybody because sometimes I don't have the, I don't know if this guy's like completely happy, but.
Yeah. In sales, you got to be assertive and persistent, not aggressive, but assertive, which means like you're confident and you're willing to ask somebody to do you a favor for your business. Yeah. And you follow up with them in order to, respond well for them doing you a good pat on the back. So if they give you a good review, maybe you can call them up and just ask, hey, how'd that sale go through? Or how's your new home? And so that's being assertive, and then persistent, always following up and asking. And people, when you ask people to do a favor, you'd be surprised how many people do that favor for you. Mm. So getting that Google review is really important if you just ask. Good point, Richard. All right, fellas, thank you so much. That was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much.
Have fun storming the castle.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.